Chapter 5 Field Trip. The concert on Friday night isn't quite at Lincoln Center, and it's not the New York Philharmonic playing, which is what I expected. The concert is in the Jazz at Lincoln Center complex at Columbus Circle, and the program features Winston Marsalis and the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. Robert's parents don't come with us, which seems a little odd. It's just me and the trumpet player. And he actually has his trumpet. I ask why, and he says it's a $3,000 horn, and it's the only one I've got. And it's either lock it up in the hotel safe or carry it. So I carry it. Jazz? I don't avoid it, but I don't seek it out. I grew up on bluegrass, and I'm in love with classical now. And I've never gotten into jazz. The next time someone offers free concert tickets, I need to ask for details. William Patterson University. That's the tip I didn't catch in the coffee shop when Robert listed his auditions. The specialty at William Patterson is jazz. Robert, he of the nice smile, is a jazz trumpeter first, an orchestra player second, but still good enough to get into the Tanglewood Classical Brass Workshop, which is saying something. And I'm surprised at how much I enjoy the concert. There are 15 or 30 amazing musicians in the group, and they open with a piece called Big Train that Marsalis wrote himself. It's beautifully orchestrated with a great range of sounds. Our house back home is only half a mile from Norfolk Southern line, and I know those long train sounds and feelings. Some of the other stuff is a little too disjointed for my taste, but Robert loves all the tunes, clapping with every soloist, and he's one of the first people on his feet at the end. The best part for me, I don't worry about Grandpa once for almost 2 hours. When Robert first came into the hotel lobby without his parents, it was a surprise, but I didn't say anything until after the concert. We're next door to the Empire Hotel eating ice cream, his choice, and it's almost 11 o'clock, just the two of us at the table. Trying to sound casual, I say, "So how do your parents like the city?" He shrugs. They couldn't come. My mom teaches college and she has midterms. And my dad's locked into a research project. My mom's going to try to come Thursday or maybe meet me in Boston next week. They're not real happy about me being a music major anyway. How come? Usual reasons: earning a living, job security, stuff like that. Don't they think you're a good musician? I mean, you've got an audition at Juilliard. They know I'm talented, but they also know that lots of great musicians never make a good living. And they also know that a big name school isn't some magical ticket, just ticket to success. So they worry. And you don't? Another shrug. I still want to go for it. It's what I like best. That's all. And my girlfriend thinks I'm really good, and she listens to everything. And my teacher plays in the Chicago Symphony, and he keeps telling me I should go ahead too. So if I can't earn a living in music, then I'll do something else. My girlfriend? Part of me didn't want to hear that. The part that doesn't want anyone treading on my dreams. "You're done eating?" he says. "I'll ride home with you." Not a question, a statement. I shake my head, feeling like I should I shake my head, feeling like I should pull back a little. You don't have to, really. There are always lots of people out on Friday night. I ride the subway alone all the time after the Philharmonic. He smiles. Exactly. You get to cruise around New York City all the time, and I don't. so don't spoil my field trip. Then his face changes. Aren't we close to where John Lennon got killed? I didn't see that coming. It's about a 10-minute walk. We can go there. Would that be okay? I nod. Sure. And we pay our tab, walk out of the restaurant, and start walking downtown. As many times as I've passed Gray's Papaya at 72nd and Broadway, I can never get over the fact that people are always lined up 3 deep at the corner, day and night. And having stood in line myself a few times, I know why. Even though we're already stuffed with ice cream, I almost insist we each have a papaya and a hot dog. It's one of those must-do things on the Upper West Side. But I can tell Robert wants to go to the scene of the crime. Seems a little morbid, but also sort of capital R, romantic. Something Piagiani might want to do, or Yates. My trumpet player, who has a girlfriend, is full of surprises. And the next surprise comes when we get to Dakota, the building where Lennon lived. After we walk past the iron gates where the shooting happened, Robert stops near the corner, opens his case, takes out a silver trumpet, slips a mouthpiece into the place, put a mute on the bell, and begins to play. The sound has to fight the noise of the traffic on Central Park West, but the melody is warm and strong, and I can hear the words in my mind. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. I've been to a military funeral, one of my dad's army buddies, and I've been to our town's Memorial Day ceremony every May since I was 3. Some burglars can play taps and make you cry, and some can't. Robert can bring the tears. He goes on with the song, knees bent, eyes closed, and before he's done, 10 or 12 other people, all ages, have stopped to listen. When it's over, there are smiles and murmurs, but no applause. It would have been like clapping for the choir in church. We walk back down toward Broadway and say, that was nice. He shrugs, sort of corny. No, just right. I almost tell him that I've never be able to do something like that. Just take out my instrument and begin playing on the street corner, but it feels too personal. Yes, I'm shy, but why bring it to his attention? I'm too shy to talk about how shy I am. We talk a little on the subway, mostly about our auditions pieces. He's worried most about Hayden, and I'm worried about Piagiani. As we pull out of 103rd Street Station, I remember that I'm going home to another night in an empty house. No grandpa. And I also remember Uncle Hank's little visit before my violin lesson today. And that's when being escorted home begins to feel like an excellent idea. Chapter 6, Gwendolyn Corso. When I get off the subway at 110th Street, Robert offers to walk me to my door, and I don't argue. Besides, I can tell he's still enjoying his tour of New York at night. As we wait for a break in the stream of cars and taxi on Broadway, he says, unless you're in Old Town, by 11:30, Chicago looks pretty empty, even on a Friday or Saturday night. New York's a whole different thing. When we're across, he stops and looks at the statues lit up by the vivid candles that flicker in the window of the bodega. And then he's got his nose against the glass door at the Italian bakery 3 doors further south, and he makes me promise we can come again when it's open. And I'm having fun, just being with someone who's seeing my neighborhood for the first time, because the variety is wonderful, and it shouldn't take it for granted. I shouldn't take anything for granted. Once we get to 109th Street, there's a short walk to Grandpa's house. And when I've got the gate and the ground floor door open and the house feels dark and silent, I say, why don't you come in? I'll play some Piagiani. And if you'll stay and if you'll play some Haydn, it's pretty late. Think it's okay with your grandfather? It's fine, really. I lock the iron gate, and when he's inside, I flip on the hallway lights, lock the door, set the steel rod back in place. He nods at the door brace. We've got an electric alarm system in my house. My grandpa says he prefers iron bars and bricks, especially if the power's out. Can't argue with that. When we're upstairs, I can see my daffodils there on the dining table, bright as sunlight. I say, want a sandwich or something to drink? He nods. Both, please. He's apparently one of those people who can eat a meal once an hour. I'm in the kitchen and Robert's walking around the parlor, looking at books, looking at Grandpa's war medals, taking in the family photos. This is you, right? The skinny girl in the middle? He plays the trumpet, and he's also an expert at flattery. He grins. I meant to say, you are the slender brunette with the dimples and the smoky eyes. I nod in approval. Yes, that's my family. They live in West Virginia near Charleston, which explains your accent. Not what I think of when someone says he lives in New York. Accent? Accent, I say, drawing down the vowels for him. Maybe it's because I know he has a girlfriend. Maybe that's why I suddenly feel like I can flirt a little, because that's not like me. But he doesn't know that. At this moment, I think I know more about him than he knows about me. He flips a thumb towards Grandpa's door. Your granddad's room? I nod, and he points at the case where Grandpa's Purple Heart medal is on display. He's not going to come charging out at me with a bayonet, is he? No chance. The phone rings on Grandpa's desk in the study. It's too late for my mom to call, and I don't want to talk to anyone else. I keep making the sandwich, and Robert says, you want me to answer that? The machine will do it. Get it. Then I remember again. Every phone call could also be Grandpa, and I hold my breath, hoping. But after the beep, it's Uncle Hank, and he's talking so loud I can hear him from the kitchen. Lawrence? Pick up. Blast you, Lawrence. Pick up your phone. Okay, so it's late, but you can call me tomorrow at home. I'll be out in the morning, so call me at noon. I tried to call you today, and then I came all the way there, and I let myself in to wait. And then Gwen shows up and breathes some fire, and she boots me out. Said she'd call the lawyer if I didn't leave. That girl, some spunk. Wonder where she gets that from, huh? Anyway, you can call me tomorrow about the house deal, or else I'm going to have to show up there with the cops. So I have to check up on my 85-year-old brother who's not answering his phone. This is the wrong time to try to ignore me. And please, tell little Gwenny to stay out of my way, okay? I need that money, Lawrence. Do you hear me? I need it. So call me. Uncle Hank slams down his phone. There's a dial tone, and the machine shuts off. Robert looks uncomfortable. He manages a smile and says, your grandfather's a sound sleeper. I put his plate and glass on the table. And as Robert sits down, I tell the truth. Actually, my grandpa's not here. Because it seems to me that a person who's not involved, who's just a visitor from Chicago, someone like that would be exempt from what Grandpa said, and not about not telling anybody. Robert's eyebrows shoot up. So is something going on? Like that guy said? I hesitate, then decide, can you keep a secret? Because I want to tell him the rest of it. His eyes are greenish blue, and there's nothing hidden, and he nods. Keeping secrets is one of my best talents. Right up there with trumpet cadences and flattery. He follows me into the study with his sandwich and milk. I pushed the button on the answer machine and it clicked back through all of Friday's messages from Uncle Hank to Kenneth Garrett, from Jason, the fourth floor tenant, and I play him Grandpa's message from Thursday. At the part where Grandpa says, please don't tell anybody I've gone, especially Hank. Robert looks at me and nods. When the message is done, Robert says, and you don't know when your granddad's coming back, right? And the man who just called, that was Hank, right again. And then I tell Robert about the invasions and the yelling and about how they both own the building and about Uncle Hank being in the house this afternoon. He really scared me, and he did it on purpose. He's so inconsiderate, which wasn't the first word that came to my mind, but I'm trying to do what Grandpa said and not judge Uncle Hank. It isn't easy. So if you can't reach your grandpa to tell him about Hank, then he'll use that as an excuse to come back blasting in here tomorrow with the police. And then he'll find out his brother is missing. And then he'll take charge of the house. And then little Gwenny will have to go away. Exactly, I say. It's bad timing. Robert nods. The worst. And then he's quiet because he understands how much work, how many years of preparation it's taken me just to get in line for auditions at good music schools, much less get accepted at one, not to mention get a scholarship. Then he says, so what are you going to do? About which part? About your uncle coming here tomorrow and maybe bringing the police? I shrug. There aren't any good choices, and I don't want to start telling a million lies. I should probably just call Grandpa's lawyer. He'll know what to do. Robert shakes his head. If you do that, then you might have to go to the police himself if it really looks like a missing persons case. Lawyers are officers of the court. I wonder how someone like Robert would know a thing like that. Another surprise from the trumpet man. Then I have another thought. But maybe the police should be involved. What if my grandpa's really in trouble? I have no idea where he is, and I keep imagining the worst. Like, what if he went out yesterday afternoon and he fell down somewhere, and the police just scooped him up and thought he was a wino, and they took him to Bellevue or to the jail somewhere? Robert looks at me, and his eyes seem so deep and clear. He says, well, you should absolutely do whatever you think is best. But on the tape, it sounded to me like your grandpa knew what he was up to. And it also sounded like he wants you to keep on with your own work. And he wants you to keep Hank in the dark about everything else. So Robert's quiet again. And then he says, look, you need about 2 weeks, right? To get done with your auditions. Only half that to finish the most important ones. Okay, so you just need to star your uncle for 7 days. And all you're doing is what your grandpa asked. He said to keep his house going for him while he's away. This is his place, and you have permission. His brother can't just whip in here because he leaves for a while. And your grandpa left you in charge. Are you 18 yet? I shake my head. No, 17. Robert wanted a different answer. Well, he says, even if you are a minor, you're still old enough to be left at home without supervision. And you've definitely been left in charge. Right, I say. But Hank's going to stir up trouble. And that's enough to ruin everything. If I can't stay focused on my final prep work, I might as well not even take these auditions. I should just buy a bus ticket and go home. Oh, well, that's clearly the winning attitude. Don't be sarcastic. Then don't talk like a dropout, he snaps. Then gentler, Robert says, look at me. Hear that message again. I point at the machine, be my guest. He ignores the frost in the voice and sits down and plays Grandpa's message. Then Robert swivels the chair toward the bookcase and starts to talk, pretending that he's on the phone. Hank, this is Lawrence. What do you want? And then he coughs. Me? I'm fine. I just don't want to talk. And that's that. So stop bothering me. Now, goodbye. I stare at him and my mouth is hanging open because Robert is using Grandpa's voice. Not perfect, but really close. I say, how did you do that? Gwenny, is that you? I need you to keep the house going for me for a while I'm away. Quit it. How did you learn to do that? He grins at me, mostly from this stupid game I play with my girlfriend. When we're out, like maybe to eat or at a mall sometimes, I try to make her think someone else is talking to her. It's going to sound sick because she's actually blind. My mouth is hanging open again. Your girlfriend's blind? Really? And you trick her with fake voices? That is sick. He's laughing now. No, but it's not for us. It's just a game, really. And when I start using some new voice, sometimes she knows it's me, but she pretends she doesn't know. And she goes along with it. And then she zaps me. And sometimes I get everything perfect and she really thinks I'm somebody else. And sometimes I do it when I call her on the phone. I'm in practice. And I am completely awesome at prank phone calls. So I think your grandma needs to give mean old Hank a call tomorrow about noon. His cell phone rings and I jump a mile. Robert takes a look and says, "It's Alicia. That's my girlfriend." So I nod and leave the study. Pulling the door shut behind me, I can hear him talking, then laughing, and I can picture his smile. Nothing's really changed here. Grandpa's still missing. Uncle Hank is still yelling, and my auditions are one day closer. But I feel better anyway. I don't know if Robert can help me or not, but I do believe that he really wants to try. And I don't feel like I'm on my own anymore, at least not the way I was this morning. So many surprises. On Friday, a little before midnight, I realized that instead of those poems by Yeats, I ought to be reading Robin Crusoe because that's more like my story. Me, alone on an island. Manhattan is not a tropical paradise, but Grandpa's ship is lost at sea, and Uncle Hank is doing a good job playing the part of a hostile native. And me, I'm the castaway. In DeVoe's novel, Robinson Crusoe finds a helper, and he names him Friday. And the castaway is sure that his helper has been sent to him by divine providence. So I'm Gwen Crusoe, and maybe Robert is going to be my man Friday, who has a girlfriend.